MX135. It's a four-wheel drive tractor. Alright, I think I've shown this in another video, but this is a little bit different because you do have high and low. You got three different ranges. You got your master clutch, you go up, that's range 1, range 2, range 3, and range 4. But within each range you have this flip switch. It goes to a second gear and a third gear and a fourth gear. I think a lot of times we run it in second range, maybe 2 or 3. If you run through a thin windrow, then you bump it up a little bit and you can go a little bit faster. Standard clutch. I don't remember if this has to be in to crank or not. The key is just like a car. You crank it, you turn it all the way to crank it, and when you turn it off, it turns the engine off. Your emergency brake there, and then let's see, here are your hydraulics. You don't have to worry about these knobs here. That is your 3-point hitch, and we keep that up to keep it out of the way there. This is your PTO. You push that down and pull it up, and that's your power takeoff. That starts your baler to running. And then here's your hydraulics. So one of these, actually only one of them will be working. So this will be your, to swing it out, or to put it in road mode or not road mode, or baling mode. And I went over that on the other videos. Let's see, anything else? All right. This actually has tilt steering. You pull that down and it'll come down. If you, we do have a problem with this, an intermittent problem with it. Sometimes the screen will look like this. Most of the time it'll look like, it'll look like that, and when you crank it up, it'll show up with the RPM. The mile per hour doesn't work right now, but it'll show up with the RPM. Now, if it does this, and that's what it's showing up, the engine will run, but it will not go into gear. And so you just call one of us and on the radio, and we know how to fix that. But anyway, and then at other times you'll just be going and everything will be going fine, and then everything will come on the screen like that. Don't let that alarm you. It'll go back to normal. I don't know, there's some kind of short in the electronics there. One thing I did not cover, so you can put it in gear here all you want to, but this is the forward and reverser lever. So you have to put that into gear. You have to put that into that way to make it go forward, or this way to go backwards. The other thing is, if you lift up out of the seat, well, I don't know why I did that. I just like, you can see me lifting out of the seat. But when you lift out of the seat, if it doesn't, there's a sensor in the seat, and if it goes up, if it doesn't sense the weight, then it puts it in neutral automatically. So even though that lever is there, it'll go into neutral, and it won't be going anywhere. And you'll go, what in the world? Well, so you just have to flip it back to neutral and back to forward. So let's see. Oh yeah, this is your throttle here. So you'll set that, and usually we run about 1800 RPM or something like that. And you can see that pedal going up and down too. Again, all of the tractors have that pedal, like an accelerator pedal, but nobody ever uses them because the throttle is just what you need to use. One thing I have not covered, if you want to slow down, you need to change gears. Because this it needs to have a certain RPM. So in other words, we're going to be running it. Let me close this window and start it up again. But if we decide we want to run it at 1800 RPM, what that's doing is, right now it's at 1260, so I'll throttle it up, like 1800 or something like that. Well, what that's doing is it's making the PTO turn at a certain RPM, and that's what we want. We got to keep that consistent for the baler. So if the tractor is not going, if it's going too fast, if you want to change the speed of the tractor, you have to change gears, because that RPM has to stay the same. Like in a car, when when you want to slow down, you just take your foot off the gas, right? If you wanted to slow down a little bit. So it's a little bit different in that. Just don't use the throttle to go, you know, up and down to increase speed or decrease speed. We keep that at a constant as much as possible. All right, one last thing. This one's a little harder to see because you'll be running, again, the windrow will be right beside those tires so that it'll go into that back chute pickup. Now you can look in that mirror, and this is in road mode right now, the baler is, but when it's shifted out, you'd be looking in that mirror and you'd be seeing that whole yellow pickup chute, and that's a good place to look in order to see that you're that you're lined up with the windrow. So that big mirror sticking out there is nice to have. Other than that, I can't think of anything else. Well, maybe lights. These are headlights, and these are working lights if we get to that point. But hopefully we won't have to work too much into the night. All right, I think that's it for the MX135. Oh, nope. One last thing. If you're in this thing, it does have an air conditioner, but you need to keep it on 1 here, because if you put it on 2 and 3, sometimes that makes that dash thing happen where it jumps into neutral, and what it's doing is overheating a relay, and we don't exactly know why. So now maybe we're done with the MX135.